Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome my friends to the another lesson of Madina book 2, lesson number 22. In this lesson it is only about fail mudaare and the three cases of fail mudaare. Now before I start explaining this, I would like to tell you that all the grammar students who are learning grammar, they know that in Arabic grammar there is only three tenses, that is Madi, Mudare and Amr. And we know that Madi, the form of Madi fail, they are always Mabni. They don't change their harakas. They don't change their structure, and there are certain set of rules when they are attached with damirs. There are certain rules and structure that we follow to make madi attached with damir. But in Arab, if a fail madi falls in any position in a sentence, it does not change its harakas, or it doesn't change its position like a noun does when it is in marfu case or in a mansoob or in majroor case. So if a noun falls in marfu, it gets dhamma. If a noun falls in mansoob, it may change to fatha or kasra. Same in fail mudaare. As I told you, madi cannot change its haraka in any position in a sentence. What about fail mudaare? Now this is what we are going to learn in this lesson. There are three cases, as we know. Marfu, here you can see al-mudare marfu, al-mudare mansoob and al-mudare majzoom. So you can say that fail mudare is mu'rab. Mu'rab means changing. It can change its position, and it can be marfu, it can be mansoob and majzoom. As we know, for a noun it can be marfu, mansoob and majroor. A noun can be marfu, mansoob and majroor. But when it comes to present tense, fail mudare, it's not majroor. It's not called majroor, but it's called majzoom. And it is denoted by a sukoon, as you can see here. Now, first we will know the three cases, that is the marfu, mansoob and majroor. Here, halatul mudare as-salas. Hala means situation of present tense are three. As-salas, three. What are they? Marfu, mansoob and majzoom. Now here you can see, first they have given all the marfu cases. Now in this table, if you go through this table, it won't be very easy to understand, but I have made my own table to make you understand what are these all three cases and how it is done and what changes does it come. So I'll just go through this quickly and then I'll move on to my own table that I have made for you. Now in marfu case, Hamidun yadhhabu. Now here what happens, it is a simple jumla failure and they have given Hamidun yadhhabu. So we will only concentrate on the present tense here. For a simple fail, dhahaba, and in present tense it comes yadhhabu. Now usually when we make a present tense, what we do is, when we make a present tense, what we do is we always make it as yazhabu, yazhabu, and you see it follows a certain scale, yaf'alu, and the last letter always has a dhamma, always has a dhamma. Now, in marfu case, whenever you see a present tense carrying a dhamma on the last letter, know that it is a marfu case. And when you see there are another form of fail mudare, like for male jama here, as you can see here, male jama. And then this is for feminine. This one is for femininity, tadhabu, and this is for ghayab, feminine, ghayab, tadhabu. And now this one is for feminine plural. Yazhabna. How do you know this is for third person ghaib? Ya. The ya tells us that it is for ghaib. And you can see in this ghaib form, the noon with fatha is there. So it remains in marfu case. It remains in marfu case, doesn't change. This type of fail, feminine plural ghayab and feminine plural mukhatib, does not change. Okay, in case of ghayab it is yadhabna, and in case of mukhatib it will be tadhabna with the ta. Now, this form does not change, it remains mabni. It remains mabni, does not change. And why it does not change, I will explain it later. Here it is for ghaib plural, male jama, and this is for feminine. These two are for feminine, singular, and then jama. This is also male, singular, and male jama. So they are dealing with four. They aren't doing the dual form right now. So this is all the marfu cases. In marfu cases, you will see the full form of present tense as normally you have been doing in Madina book. Now, what happens in mansoob? As you see in this table, mansoob form, what happens? When you see in mansoob, the small change that you can see is the lan. The lan. So lan is actually the tool of nasb. The tool of nasb. Whenever you see this particular harf or particle or the adaat, if it comes before a fail mudaare, it brings a little change. What does it bring? A change in fail mudaare? It gives the last letter a fatha. It gives the last letter a fatha, and this fatha shows that this is in mansoob case. And why did it change into fatha from dhamma to fatha? Because of this particle or harf or adatun nasb, lan. Same. Now this is a simple fail mudaare. From yadhabu it changed to yadhaba. What about at-tullabu yadhabuna? It is with waw and noon. This is a male jama plural. What happens? What happens when this kind of fail comes, and this fail is from afalul khamsa? So this particular rule is for afalul khamsa. So I will explain in the table, but right now just concentrate on this table. So when the harf particle of nas comes, what happens? This fail yadhabuna, what happens? The whole fail will be there, only the noon will be dropped or deleted. Because why does this noon always gets deleted or dropped? Because this is an extra noon, does not have any eraab, and it always comes just, it is structure. It actually, this noon represents the tanween actually. So in when you do it, do the grammar in future in other books, you will understand about the noon zaida or the noon extra. So this gets deleted, and what remains? Waw al jama. And why does waw al jama remains? Why doesn't it gets deleted? Because this waw al jama is the fa'il. It is the damir, and damir never deletes. Damir are always there, and it is never deleted. And due to this damir only, you will know how many persons have gone. If it's get deleted, how will you recognize that? How about how many people are being spoken of? So it does not delete. Remember, the noon extra gets deleted every time, not the damir. And in this case, waw al jama is the fa'il, the damir. Now what happens when we speak about single feminine? Aminatu tadhabu. Simple. It is a simple fail mudaare. What happens? Just the fatha, change of dhamma, fatha from dhamma. And then when plural comes, feminine plural, what happens? Yadhabna. Please pay attention what happens. This and this is totally different. This is male jama. And when it comes to feminine jama, what happens? Yadhabna. This is yadhhabna with ba sukoon. As if you don't see the ba, I'll just rub it. Now this is yadhhabna, ba with sukoon and noon with fatha. Now this noon with fatha may look alike with this noon, but this noon is different and this noon is different. This noon is called noon zaida or extra noon. Extra noon. Noon zaida or extra noon. And this is known as noon niswa. This is actually a damir. It is a damir, and the name of this noon fatha damir is noon niswa. And now one may ask, how will you recognize this? This is noon niswa and this is noon extra. Always remember, if you want to recognize noon niswa, you should go back to the previous letter and it should have a sukoon before. It should have a sukoon before. If the letter before noon niswa has a sukoon, then know that definitely this noon is noon niswa, the damir. And as I told you, damir can never be deleted. That's why this noon is not deleted here. Even though the harf noon, the tool of nasb or the harf nasb has come before the present tense. So know that this is very important. Now, all these cases are for the nasb, and now we move on to the mudaare majzoom. Now, how does it change from mansoob to majzoom? Just before the present tense, you will see the particle or the tool of jazm. You say tool of jazm or adatul jazm. Now, there are different tools. We will speak about it later. In nasb, it is lan, and in majzoom, it is lam. And lan is actually, I forgot to mention about lan, a small detail about lan. Lan means will not. Will not. It is a negative particle, and what does it do? And when do you use it? It is a negative particle, you know that. And when you are going to use it? When you want to negate something in future. Like you want to say, I will not go to school tomorrow. You have not gone yet. Tomorrow has not come yet. But you want to negate something, you will do it in future. That means you will not go to school tomorrow. So you will say, what will you say? Lan, you will use this particle lan azhabu. Azhabu ilal madrasati. Ilal madrasati ghadan. Okay? Ghadan. Anything you can write. قبل like الأسبوع القادمة or غدا morning, anything you can write. لن أذهب, sorry, it will change. When you use لن, it will change from dhamma to fatha. لن أذهب إلى المدرسة غدا. So that means you are negating in future. That's when you will use لن. And what about lam? Lam means did not. This is also a negative adaat, which is negative. That means adatul nafi or manfi, negative particle. Now, when it is used, when you want to say at present, like he did not write his homework, then you will say lam taktub ad-darsa. And what changes does it bring? Whenever you see lam before a present tense, know that from fatha it changes to sukoon. And majzoom cases are denoted with sukoons, not kasra. Remember, fails, all the fails, either amr or fail mudaare or fail madi, they cannot take a kasra. Ever, ever, ever. They cannot take a kasra. So that's why here in majzoom case, when lam or the particle of jazm you use, then the last letter of the fail mudaare will have a sukun. Lam yazhab. Lam yadhhabu. Now what happens when afalul khamsa is used? The only changes is the noon is dropped. So the rule for afalul khamsa is the same in majzoom case and in mansoob case. Both the cases, the rule for afalul khamsa are the same. Noon is dropped. And why the noon is dropped? It is an extra noon. This is the explanation. Now let's see for the feminine singular. Lam tazhab. Same. Ba with sukoon. Lam tazhabna. What happens with feminine plural? As I told you, this is noon niswa. How do you recognize? The letter previous has a sukoon. That means this is definitely a noon niswa and it is a damir. It cannot be deleted. So this will remain in its original form. Lam tazhabna. Now this rule is only for feminine plural. Okay. The rule for afalul khamsa is the dropping of the noon, the deletion of the noon, or in Arabic we say hazfan noon. Hazfan noon means to remove the noon. So I think this is clear for you now. Now let's see below. This is anta tadhhabu. Now they have come from for second person. That means mukhatib. So in mukhatib also you can see the changes. Anta tadhhabu. This is simple because, and how do you know that a fail mudaare is in marfu case? Simply before the present tense there is no adatun nasb or no adatul jazm. Absence of adatun nasb and absence of adatul jazm. So this is for anta, male singular. This is for male singular. Same, male singular, male plural, and feminine singular and feminine plural. So they have made it easy for you to just understand the concept of grammar rules. That's why they have not given the dual form here, because dual forms it is morab, it changes in mansoob and majroor case. That's why they have not introduced duals now. It's better to concentrate on singular and plural and not go into detail with muthanna now, inshallah. And muthanna lesson is at the end of this book. So we will do the muthanna rules at the end of this book. Now, what about male singular? I'm so sorry, singular. Male singular. Lan tadhhaba. As the particle lan comes, it gives a fatha over the last letter. Lan tadhhabu. Same rule of afalul khamsa. The noon drops. It's the same. Lan tadhhabi. Yes. Now this is present tense for singular feminine. This was for ghayab actually, and this is for singular mukhatib. Tadhhabi. What happens? The noon has been dropped. Why the noon is dropped? Because tadhhabina is also from afalul khamsa. And lan tadhhabna, this is for feminine plural. I told you this is noon niswa, so it cannot be deleted. Now, lam tadhhab. As you can see, as soon as the adatul jazm came, the last letter got a sukoon. Now, lam tadhhabu, the noon is deleted or removed or dropped. Lam tadhhabi, the noon is dropped. Lam tadhhabna, the noon niswa remains. It is the damir. Now, this is for ana, I, and we. Ana adhabu. As you can see, there is no adatun nasb or jazm. So the last letter will carry a dhamma, and dhamma shows that it is in marfu case. Now there is a small detail here I would like to tell you. In case of any letters, like any other letter, normal letter, it will have a clear visible dhamma over it, which we call this in Arabic as Sahih letter. Sahih letter means free of weak letters. Ba is from Sahih letter. It is not a weak letter. What are the weak letters? Alif, Waw, and Ya. If these letter comes at the end of the fi'l mudare, then what happens? Dhamma muqaddara. It takes to dhamma muqaddara. In eraab you will say fi'l mudari marfu'un wal amatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu li'annahu wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu al-zahira. If there is a sahih letter and if there is a visible dhamma, then you will say wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu al-zahira. Why it is zahira? Why it is visible? You will say li'annahu sahih al-akhir. Now, if you are not getting the whole sentence of Arab, I will write it for you here. It is if you have adhabu. Okay, how will you do the Arab? Adhabu. Now you will say fail mudaare مضارع فعل مضارع وعلامة فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة. Now this is important. ضمة الظاهرة. ظاهرة means it is visible. ظاهرة. Why it is visible? You will give your answer. لأنه means because it is لأنه صحيح الآخر. Okay, آخر. Sahih al-akhir means that the last letter, I mean the ba. The last letter ba is a sahih letter. Now what happens if there is a weak letter? Alif, Waw and Ya is a weak letter. What happens? Then you will say the whole thing. Fi'l mudari marfu'an wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu. Now from here you will change your sentence as ad-dammatu al-muqaddaratu. Ad-dammatu al-muqaddaratu. Muqaddaratu. Li'annahu. Again you will give your answer. Li'annahu. Why it is muqaddara? You have to mention. Li'annahu mu'tal al-akhir. Mu'tal means weak. Mu'tal al-akhir. You have to give your reasons. So this is what you will change when there is a weak letter, and when there is a sahih letter you will give your answer like this. So I hope it is clear for you now. So now we go to adhabu. Okay, lan adhaba. As you can see, the moment the particle of nazb came, what happens? The haraka from dhamma changes to fatha. What about for nazhab? As you can see, there is a sahih letter, a fatha zahira is there. Lam adhab. What happens? Lam adhab. The moment the particle of lam came, what changes does it bring? The last letter will have a sukoon, and same as for nadhab. Now how will you do your i'rab with if it is a mansoob? What will you write? It is the same sentence, fi'l mudaare. You will not write marfu but instead mansoob. The only difference it will be mansoob. Wa alamatu nasbihi. Okay, the only change will be nasbihi al fathatu. Fathatu, because it is because it is zahira, you will write al fathatu al zahira. Okay, الظاهرة. You have to need. And if it is weak letter here, what will you say? What will you say? لأنه معتل الآخر. You will say الفتحة المقدرة لأنه معتل الآخر. Okay. Now this is how you will do the eraab for the nasb case. And what happens when it is jazm? When it is jazm, you will say the same sentence, fail mudaare majzoomun. In this case, you will write majzoomun. Majzoomun. Wa alamatu jazmihi. Jazmihi. You will write jazmihi instead of nasb or raf. Jazmihi as-sukun. You will write as-sukun. Okay? As-sukun. And as-sukun لأنه صحيح الآخر, because it is a sahih letter. In case of the in case of weak letter, the same sentence you will write لأنه سكون المقدرة لأنه معتل الآخر. So this is the fail mudare rules for 3 cases. Now let's come to the table that I have prepared for you here. Halatul mudare al-thalas. 3 cases of mudare. What? Sorry. Okay. What do you see here? 3 cases of mudare: al-marfu, mansoob, and majzoom. Now al-marfu is known for dhamma. With dhamma, you recognize it with dhamma, simple, when the letters are sahih. And with mansoob, it will be recognized with fatha. And majzoom, adatul jazm, is lam, and it is recognized with sukoon. So these 3, as I have explained, marfu is recognized by dhamma, mansoob by fatha, and majzoom by sukoon. What are the adatul nasb? Because in marfu case, there are no adat, there are no harf needed before fail mudare marfu. But adatul nasb or harf are needed before fail mudare mansoob in order to change into mansoob position. So what are the adat? What are the harf? An, lan, it's with fatha. An, lan, hatta, li, and kai. An means that. Lan, will not. Hatta is so that. Here it does not mean until. Here it means so that. Li is for. Kai, so that. It's the same. These 2 are the same, hatta and kai. Now, for example, I have given you the particle harf. When it comes, what happens? The last letter gets a fatha. In case of af'alul khamsa, af'al al-khamsa, what happens? The noon is dropped. Now you understood, the noon is dropped. It's just moved a bit here. Okay, the noon is dropped here. So this is the case of af'alul khamsa. This is the case of af'alul khamsa. And here what happens? Al-marfu, there is simple dhamma with thubut noon. If the noon is present, like in here, if the noon is present, what will be your eraab? Bithubut noon. What will you say? I will write it for you. You will say the same sentence. Fail mudare marfu'un wa alamatu raf'ihi bithubut noon. Because in afalul khamsa you cannot put the position or the dhamma or anything because of the last letter waw wa noon. It does not carry the haraka dhamma, but instead this presence of noon tells you that yes, it is in marfu case. This rule is for afalul khamsa. What will you write? فعل مضارع مرفوع وعلامة رفعه بالثبوت النون. You will write بالثبوت ثبوت النون. Okay, you will write بالثبوت النون. So this is your i'rab. Because of the presence of noon in afal al khamsa, you will recognize that it is in marfu case. And in case of this afalul khamsa where noon is deleted, what will you write? You will say fail mudare mansubun. This is for mansub case. Fail mudare mansubun wa alamatu nasbihi. Now you can't put a fatha because it is from afalul khamsa. It carries noon, and when the noon is deleted, only waw is left. Waw al jama is there. This is damir. Now one may ask, what is this alif doing here? What is this alif? This alif comes as soon as the noon is dropped. This alif is known as alif of protection. It comes here to tell you that this particular waw is the damir, waw al jama. That's why this alif comes. It is called alif of protection. And in this case, when the noon gets deleted, how will you do your i'rab? You will say fail mudare, same sentence as I have given before. Fail mudare mansubun wa alamatu nasbihi. Al fathatu, what will you write? No, not fatha. Wa alamatu nasbihi بحذف النون. What will you say? بحذف حذف النون. بحذف النون. What does it mean? By removing the noon. Hazf means removing or deleting the noon. So this is what you will write in the i'rab. Now let's come to the adatul jazm in majzoom case. As we know that we can recognize the fail with the sukoon on the last letter. And what are the adaat? Lam. Lam means did not. Lamul amr, that is la. Lamul amr is la, and it means it means don't. When you want to tell somebody, don't write it, don't eat it, you are commanding somebody. It is a negative command. Remember this. It is a negative command. These are very important points I'm giving you. Because of these points, some students get confused. They don't know these small details about lam al amr, and whatever I'm telling you, it is all the small detailings I have been gathering from different books, and I've been studying all these details in Tuhfatu Saniya and Madina book 3, and in morphology book, Sarf book. And I have been compiling everything and giving you all this small details, so don't miss each and every detail that I give. So la is don't. This is a negative command, and when you want to say don't eat or don't write, you are commanding in a negative. So this is lamul amr. Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is not lamul amr. This is lamul amr, negative command, and this is for a positive command. This is for positive command. So I got mixed up. This is for positive command. Lamul amr, positive command. And this is for negative command. Command lam nahiya. Now lamma, and lamma means not yet. So we will see in yazhab. Lam, the moment this particle lam is put, the last letter gets a sukoon. What about the afalul khamsa? Afalul khamsa, the noon is deleted, as you can see. And how will you do the i'rab? The same way. بحذف النون. The only thing you will say is فعل مضارع مجزوم وعلامة جزمه بالحذف النون. بحذف النون. That's the only thing you can say for this eraab. Now we come down for the three things in detail. We will do here in detail. Now in first case, marfu case, when it is dhamma zahira, whenever you see with a fail mudare with a clear dhamma on it. So in marfu case, we are doing fail mudare marfu. Now there are three cases where there are different types of i'rab we do. First, we do when there you see a visible dhamma on the last letter, the first case. Here you will see the first case is dhamma zahira. Dhamma zahira. Presence of dhamma at the last letter of the word when it has a sahi letter. I have explained you what is sahi letter, all the letters except alif, waw and ya. And how will you do the i'rab? This is the i'rab you will do. Fail mudare marfu'un, because we are doing a fail mudare marfu case. Wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu adh-dhahiratu. This is you have to mention. And extra you can mention لأنه صحيح الآخر. If you don't want to mention, you can just leave it. But if you mention صحيح الآخر, that means you know your grammar very well. Now, the second case is الضمة المقدرة. Now, when is dhamma muqaddara? When is dhamma muqaddara? We will see here the second case. When is dhamma muqaddara? When the fail mudare has a weak letter, okay, at the end of the verb. Example, alif, waw and ya. As I told you before, mentioned it, the dhamma is estimated or muqaddara. Okay, the i'rab will be for this kind of fail will be fail mudare marfu'un wa alamatu raf'ihi ad-dammatu al-muqaddaratu ala لأنه معتل الآخر. I think I missed alal, for example, alal ala waw or alal alif or al any verb, for example yabqi. Okay, yabqi. Now in this type of fail, there is a ya at the end. So will you put a dhamma over it? We cannot put, because this is a weak letter. So you will say al fail mudare marfu wal amatu raf'ihi dhammatu al muqaddaratu ala what? Where is dhamma? It is alal ya. Actually it is above the ya, so you will say alal ya. Al ya'u. So you will say alal ya'u, sorry, alal ya'i, because harf jar is there. Alal ya'i and li'annahu mu'tal al-akhir. You have to mention this. li'annahu mu'tal al-akhir. This is from the weak letter. So that's why muqaddaratu ala which letter? Alif, waw or ya. So you have to mention. In this case, as I have given you the example, yabqi, it was a ya. Any example like yas'a, then alal alif. If you say yas'a, then you will say alal alifu. And if I say yad'u, then you will say alal waw. So this is how you are going to do the i'rab of fail mudare marfu. Now the third case, we did one where the dhamma is zahira. We did the second case where dhamma is muqaddara. And now the third, if the fail is from afalul khamsa. Here, if the fail is from afalul khamsa, means the 5 fail mudare that carries noon at the end. Yadhabuna, for example, we have taken noon, yadhabuna. It is a simple verb used every time, so that's why I've taken yadhabuna. You can take any other fail. I'rab, what will you do the i'rab? Fail mudare marfu'un وعلامة رفعه بثبوت النون. بثبوت النون. Presence of noon. When presence of noon is there, that means it is in marfu case. لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. You have to give your reason why it is a subut and noon there, presence of noon, because it is from the أفعال الخمسة. So you have to give your reasons. So this is how we do all the three cases and eraab of the three cases. Now we come to mansoob case. Fail mudaare mansoob case. There are also three cases in mansoob, three ways of doing the eraab. First of all, we will do the first case when the fail mudaare has a sahih letter at the end of the verb. That means al-fathatu al-dhahira. For example, I have given lan yadhhaba. As you can see, there is a fatha at the last letter. So the i'rab will be fail mudare mansoob. The only difference will be mansoob wa alamatu. The sentence is the same. You just need to change the name of the position. Wa alamatu nasbihi kasra nasbihi al-fathatu al-zahiratu. It is visible now. The fatha is visible now. And why is it visible? You have to give your reasons. لِأَنَّهُ, because. لِأَنَّ means because. لِأَنَّهُ صَحِي الْآخَرِ. The second case. When the fail mudare has a weak letter at the end of the word. That is fatha al-muqaddara. We are doing the muqaddara case. Al-i'rab, how will you do? Fail mudare mansubun. Sorry, this is mudare. mudari'un. Mansubun wa alamatu nasbihi al-fathatu al-muqaddaratu. In case of, like, we will take this same, same verb, yad'u. I will take yasa. I will take yasa. I'll explain why I'm not taking these two example with a ya and with a waw. Okay, I will explain it too at the end of the letter. At the end of this case. Okay, we will take yasa. Yasa. So in this case, if there is an alif at the end, will you put a fatha over it? No, because this is a weak letter and alif never carries any haraka. It cannot. It never, and it cannot carry any haraka. So you will say alamatu nasbihi al-fathatu al-muqattaratu alal. I think I have missed this. You can add this. Ala. Like here you have done ala. Alal alifu. You can say alal alifu. Alal alifu. So you can add this with the i'rab. Alal alifu li'annahu li'annahu al-mu'tal al-akhir. That is the i'rab, how you do it. Now the third case is from af'alul khamsa. Now, when the af'alul khamsa is there, what will you do? The noon is deleted. It's the same. The i'rab is the same. Fail mudare mansubun wa alamatu nasbihi wa hasfa noon li'annahu min al-af'alul khamsa. It's the same. So now I will explain why I have not taken these two verbs with ya and with waw. Now, right now you might not have studied that ya and waw as a weak letter. As a weak letter. We know that there are three weak letters. Alif, waw and ya. Out of these three weak letters, waw and ya can take a fatha or a dhamma. Okay, I'm not sure about the dhamma, but yes, it can take a fatha over it. So you can say yad'uwa, yad'uwa, and you can say yabqiya, yabqiya. You can say yabqiya with a visible fatha. but it is somewhat thaqeel over it, but still it can take wow and ya still can take a visible fatha over it. But this alif or sometimes it comes in the shape of ya without dots. So this is alif maksura. This letter is called alif maksura. Now this cannot take haraka in any circumstances, in any position. It cannot. It is known as lit ta'adhur. Lit ta'adhur means heavy. It is heavy. It is impossible to take haraka for alif and alif maksura. Okay, so remember, this is very important point. Sometimes you may see a fatha over a waw and you may see a fatha over a ya, and in later lessons in Madina book 3 you will come across this rule. So I'm just telling you now because you might have come across these verbs where they might have a fatha over it on the last letter, so you don't get confused when you see a fatha over waw or a ya. So this is the explanation why I didn't take yabqi and yad'u for this example. Now we come to the last case for majzoom. So the first case, when a fail mudaare has a clear sukoon on the sahih letter at the end of the verb, that is lam yadhhab, as I have explained before. Eraab, fail mudaare majzoomun wa alamatu jazmihi ala sukoon li'annahu sahih al-akhir. You can add a sukoon az-zahira because it is visible. So you can say al-wahira. Second case is of when it has a weak letter. What happens when it has a weak letter at the end? Just like lam yabqi. What happens? Lam yabqi. What happens here? In this case, lam yabqiya. In this case, you cannot put a sukoon on the letter, last letter. The weak letter gets deleted. The weak letter gets deleted. What happens? And as you can see, I will take this example, yabqi and yadu'u. What happens here? As you can see, the weak letter at the end of the verb, what happens? The ya gets deleted and the eraab will be fair mudaare majzoomun wa alamatu jazmihi bihazf al-akhir wa huwa ya, alif or waw. What happened? If there is a weak letter in jazm case, it will get deleted. And what happens? Now there is a small explanation here. When the weak letter gets deleted like ya, waw or alif. So as we know that waw represents fatha and waw represents dhamma, ya represents kasra. Okay. So as in case of yabqi, the ya gets deleted and what is the second last letter here? I'm sorry, it's ba. Yabqi. So what is the second last letter here? If this gets deleted, what remains? Yab, qaf. So the second last letter is qaf. So you will write qaf in full form. And how will you decide what haraka this qaf will have? This ya represents kasra, so as soon as ya is deleted, it leaves its representative. Okay, it leaves its representative. Now the moment you see the kasra, you will understand that yes, the weak letter ya was deleted from here. Okay, so this is how you will recognize. In case of yad'u, what happens? Waw gets deleted. What is the second last letter? Yad. Ain will be written in full form with dhamma. And seeing this dhamma, you will understand, yes, the weak letter waw was deleted from here. And as soon as the waw was deleted, it leaves its representative dhamma. And in case of yas'a, Yasa. What happens in this case? Ain will be written in full form and the fatha remains, and you will know that yes, the weak letter alif was deleted, so the representative fatha remains. So that's how you will know which letter was deleted. And third case, if the fail mudare is from afalul khamsa. If the fail is from afalul khamsa, it's the same. The noon drops and your i'rab will be alamatu jazmihi bihadf an-noon li'annahu min al-afalul khamsa. It's the same. And I have told you in mansoob and in jazm. The all three cases we have covered. And note that it's an important point here, the plural feminine second person, that means yaf'alna, or in this book we did tazhabna, we did tazhabna, habna, or taf'alna, anything you can take. Taf'alna and yaf'alna, this is for ghaib. Ya represents ghaib and ta represents mukhatib. Will not change and its noon will not drop. Why doesn't it drop? I have discussed this, and it's very important point, because the noon in this fail mudare is not an extra noon or noon zaida. It is, what is it? It is the damir called noon niswa. It shows the plural form, plural feminine. So this is the answer for this. So I have covered all the points, important points of this lesson, and all the Arabs that was important regarding in this lesson. So this is the three cases of fail mudare. As you can see here, I can do it more smaller. So this is all the three cases here, and this lesson 22 comprised of only one page, so I had just attached this document here in my whiteboard. But these are all the details, Arab, and all the three cases and three type of Arabs for marfu, mansoob, and majzoom. I hope I have made myself clear. So we will meet inshallah for the next lesson, that will be lesson 24 inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.